Hey guys, it's Scott here and welcome to this year's Premier League predictions for the 2017/2018 season. This is going to be a little bit interesting. So, some people may be watching this as a video, some people may be watching this as a stream. If it is a stream, then I'm going to ask you guys a couple of questions throughout it, just to get a little bit of feedback. But if you're watching it as a video, you won't be missing out on anything. It's not going to be super long, ideally, but we are going to go over everything in terms of my full league table and the reasons why. I will also be doing my main FIFA stream later on today at 5 o'clock as per usual, but this is today's mini stream. So let's get into it, by the way. And also, if you are watching this as, well, whether you're watching it as a stream or a video, I want you to put your full Premier League league table, all 20 teams, in the comments of the video. So if you're watching it as a stream, you'll have to wait until it's over and then it gets uploaded. Then I want your full 20 team prediction. If you're watching it as a video, you can just comment down below. But let's get into it. So like I said, I don't want this to go on for super long because I've got stuff to do before the main stream later today. So let's get into it, shall we? Now, the first question that I'm going to ask the people in the chat is, who do you think I am going to put, or no, actually the first question is, who do you think I am going to put to win the league? And also then the next question is, what position do you think that I've put my team, Leicester City, in this prediction table? But let's get into this, shall we? Like I said, I've got reasons for putting each team in each position, etc, and I'll try and just go over all of those. So the chat is getting spammed right now with people saying that I'm going to put Man City top and Leicester roughly around mid-table. A lot of people saying okay, interesting. So let's get into it. Obviously, if you're watching this as the video, you'll already be able to just cheat and skip to the end, but it's fine. Let's do this, shall we? So, first team in this prediction is going to be 20th position in the league. Now, some of these positions are not where I would like them to come, obviously, but where I think that they're going to come. So, let's, someone in the chat has just said, don't do this, what I'm about to do. But here you go. So, first things first. We have to start off at the bottom of the table. Let's go with Brighton. I don't want this to happen. I do not want them to come bottom of the table because I love knockout and Brighton seem pretty cool. They've not had an insane summer, for example, and they sort of failed a little bit towards the end of last season in terms of winning the league, pretty much. They pretty much bottled it against Newcastle, so that sucked for them. And again, Knockout is one of my favourite players that we've ever had, so it would suck to see them go right back down, bottom of the table, but I just don't think that they've got enough to stay up in this league. Now, obviously, in the Premier League, like the top 6 or 7 or whatever, at this point are pretty much settled in. Then there's a few teams where you think, oh, okay, yeah, maybe they're sort of set in stone. I find pretty much 11th to 17th, 18th, not the easiest thing in the world. Now, I should also point out, these predictions are based on their current squads. So, obviously, let's say Brighton right now could go out and sign 3 players for 20 mil each that completely turn their season completely on its head from what it looks like it's going to happen, and so obviously my predictions would then change. So I'm basing it on what their current team is, not any current transfer rumours and stuff like that, just on their current team, okay? So unfortunately Brighton bottom, but there you go. Next, now this one sort of contradicts exactly what I've just said, but I think everybody can understand exactly why I am going on a transfer rumour happening, because both teams have pretty much said it's happening, it's just a matter of when. So next I'm going to go with, finally, Swansea are going to go back down. They pretty much just stayed up last season, And again, this bottom three, you could pretty much change like whichever whichever position these teams finish in. Like, it's difficult to predict exactly which one is going to... It doesn't matter, does it, really? If you finish 18th or 20th, does it? You're going down. So, the reason why Swansea are there... Gylfi. Like, without Gylfi... That's about it, really, isn't it, for Swansea? So, again, the thing is, if they kept him, obviously I'd put them higher. And I don't think that they would go down because they've still signed a couple of players, like Tammy Abraham could be decent for them. But I just feel like without Sigurdsson, they just don't... They just can't, surely. We'll have to wait and see, obviously, but I think he's just too important for them. And that's about it. Like, that is the catalyst for Swansea City. And as I said a minute ago, Swansea have pretty much said, as soon as the right price comes in, he can go. And there's going to be a compromise between Swansea and, we're assuming, Everton, that they literally tweeted out, like, I don't know, about an hour ago, saying that once a deal is in place, then he's going to be gone. And in order for that to happen and just get this transfer done and dusted, there is going to be a compromise from both teams. So pretty much, Man City, Everton are willing to pay 45... excuse me, and Swansea want 50, so pretty much he's probably going to end up going for like 47.5 or something like that. They'll just meet in the middle. So there you go. Next, let's move on to 18th place. A lot of people have already guessed this one. This is going to be Huddersfield. Now, the thing is with Huddersfield, they've signed a hell of a lot of players, and they've spent a lot of money. The only issue with that is... you can't pretty much like just buy a full new team and expect them all to play incredibly well together straight away. Now, if all of these new signings come together and they play amazing together, awesome. They could potentially finish a lot higher. But you've just got to assume that that isn't going to happen because of every single team that's ever bought a load of players in in world football. The thing is, they sort of did a similar thing last season, which is the only reason why it's a little bit like, maybe it could sort of work again. But the Premier League is completely different. I think that it's just going to be too tough for Huddersfield to stay up this season. And normally, like, one or two of the teams that do come up end up like going back down, so it wouldn't be too surprising if that is the case again this year. I don't think many people would be shocked. Someone's just said, "Oh, Brighton and Huddersfield new teams." Yes, you've got Brighton, Huddersfield, and Newcastle who have been promoted into the league. You can't just put the new promotions at the bottom. Well, I've not. Swansea are there. So there you go. Again, there's going to be so many people that disagree with all of these things that I'm putting in these predictions, but this is exactly why. Once this stream is done and it goes out as a video, I want you to put your prediction for the full table, okay? And maybe if someone gets it completely right at the end of the season, maybe I'll give you a reward or a prize of some kind. But you have to put it at the start of the season, obviously, otherwise that's cheating. Next, let's move on to the hardest part of the table for me. I would say from 17th to 11th is super, super difficult, and any of these people in these positions that I've got here could interchange with each other. So a lot of people, again, will probably be moaning that, oh, I've put this team in 17th instead of like 12th or 11th. Again, last season it was super close between pretty much all of these positions, like a couple of points between them. So I'm not expecting that to be that different this season. And again, so a lot of people are probably about to kick off and say, oh, how dare you put my team in 17th? Just, okay, it's fine. So in 17th, I'm going to go with, boom, Big Stoke. They're not the best. Let's be honest. Stoke are not the most entertaining team in the world. They don't have the best players in the world. They've sold a couple of them this season so far. Getting rid of their best player, I don't know. from time to time he is. Arnautovic to West Ham is not good for them. They've also got rid of Jonathan Walters, but they have signed a couple of players, for example, like Zuma on loan is not bad. Maybe he'll fit in and he'll do well. Again, this is why this part of the table is so difficult to sort of call, because you don't know exactly how well these new signings and stuff are going to play, right? So it's just too difficult, man. It's just too difficult. But I don't think, like, Stoke aren't that good in reality. Last season, I mean, they've still got Shaqiri, who maybe this year is finally going to be the year where he plays as good as he can do, and he could carry them and do very, very well. But again, Arnautovic was the guy that actually seemed to be doing what Shaqiri should have been doing. Okay, not consistently, but he was their star player, as much as you can say that for Stoke. But the thing is with them, sometimes they just seem to get results no matter what. But Stoke fans don't really seem to be that happy with what Mark Hughes has been doing lately. They don't think that it's going too well. Again, maybe it's harsh to put them 17th, but again, I believe that anyone between 17th and 11th in my predictions can switch places. So don't take it massively, massively seriously that, oh, they're definitely finishing in that position. Okay? So many changes could happen. Next, let's go on to Watford. Now, they just signed Andre Gray yesterday, so that could make a big difference to them. I don't think he's that great, but that could change where they finish now. So maybe they would be higher than, for example, Burnley, but in this predictions that I had done, they're below. Okay, so this is, again, why it's all going to change, most likely, because of how well new signings are going to fit in at their teams. You could say that someone have bought this player, and he's going to make them finish 3 places higher. It's impossible to say right now. But Andre Gray could make a difference for Watford. Deeney has slowly sort of been meh. Obviously, they got rid of Igalo last season because he had one amazing year. Well, no, he had like one amazing half season, then did pretty much nothing. Then did pretty much nothing again. So they got rid of him, got a lot of money. So they've brought in, excuse me, people like Tom Cleverley, people like Andre Gray, etc., etc. So I just don't. They're just not incredible. Again, you don't really think of Watford as, oh my god, they're definitely going to win this game, or they're definitely going to win that game. It's like, maybe they will. You can see them maybe beating one of the lower teams, etc., etc. Next, let's move on. Let's speed it up a tiny bit. Newcastle. Now, again, I think after Andre Gray going, I'd move Burnley down a bit. So this was done before that actually happened. So maybe they would drop down by a place or two. I think they may be coming up next, but maybe they could be down to like 16th or something. It depends how big that's going to have an impact on their team. But Newcastle, I think they're going to stay up. With Rafa, they haven't made a massive amount of like amazing signings in this summer, but their squad's okay. Do I think it's good enough to be like challenging massively in the Premier League? Not really, but I think it's just going to be a little bit better than the other ones. Again, this is why I say don't take it massively seriously. A team that I've put in 12th could finish 17th, and I would not be shocked at it. People are saying in the chat that Brighton have just signed Izquierdo. If they actually have, maybe that'll make a difference. But again, it's impossible to say how well one signing is going to affect a team and stuff like that, okay? So that is that. You say Newcastle aren't good enough? Again, it's my prediction. This is just what I am saying right now. So I'm pretty sure next, right, Burnley are in 14th. They're moving down after they've sold Thingamabob. Andre Gray. I think that they're going to go down. Not relegated, but I think they'd move down in my prediction. So maybe you could swap them, shunt them down 2 places or something like that. But again, just not... they're just not incredible. Like, we'll have to wait and see if their away form this year is going to be as bad as last season, because that was diabolical. Absolutely diabolical. But surely it can't be as bad as last year, can it? Which is why maybe they'll do okay. But I do not know, man. I do not know. It's, again, this is why this is so hard to call this year. There's pretty much, like, a couple of things in the Prem. Like, again, the top 6 or 7 are set in stone. After that, this is why it's going to be so interesting. Once this has gone as a video, once it's uploaded, it's going to be so interesting to see what people's predictions are. Now, a lot of people are going to be biased. For example, let's say if there's a Brighton fan, maybe they'll put themselves up at like 12th or something because they'll be like, oh, we're amazing, etc, etc. I try and be as completely unbiased as possible. These are honest predictions for everything. I don't favour teams over others. Like, if I thought we were absolutely terrible, then I'd predict us to go down or just stay up in like 17th or something. So I try and not be biased for this. Next we go to West Brom. Probably the most meh team in the division. I don't think anyone other than West Brom fans would care if they got relegated. They're just boring. I mean, they've signed Jay Rodriguez. Maybe that'll actually make them a little bit more interesting to watch instead of just good old Tony Pulis football. So we'll have to wait and see. Again, it's so difficult to judge a team based on their new signings. Like, you don't know how well they're going to impact the team, etc, etc. So I can't just say, oh, they've signed Jay Rodriguez. I think he's an awesome player. He scored an absolute banger against us in pre-season. That's the kind of thing that he can do. He can make a massive difference. In reality, it may be the case that, oh, he's just a bit part player that ends up getting injured or something, and then so nothing happens. So West Brom are just like the set-piece team that defend and time waste from the first whistle, and they're just the most uninteresting team in the league. But their defence is pretty good, and Tony Pulis, he just keeps them up. Like, they just defend. So that's why I've put West Brom at like that kind of position, because they just, whilst they're not they're not a great team, they just get points. Right? They're just one of those teams that seem to sit in the league, not do anything, not be interesting, and they just do their thing. So that's why I've put West Brom in there. Next, we move up. Palace. Now, this is going to be interesting, excuse me, to see how Frank de Boer does as his first year at Palace in the Premier League. And they've made a couple of signings. For example, Loftus-Cheek. Could be decent for them. If he ends up being a starter for them, then again, that could push them up the table. Keeping hold of Benteke, Zaha could have a good year. Again, it's difficult to know whether a new manager is going to make things massively different. And that can also be said for Watford. Again, they've got Marco Silva now, who did quite well at Hull at the end of last season. So this is why I find it so difficult to predict. Pretty much from 17th up, for me, is super, super difficult up until like 8th place or something like that. So new managers and new players, obviously, like, it's ridiculously obvious for me to say that they are the pinnacle. Are they going to make the difference that the club wants? If yes, okay, maybe they could do great. Maybe Palace could finish top 10. We don't know. But I just feel like it's sort of a safe spot for just to put them in the table. New manager, a couple of new faces and stuff, like Milivojevic looks okay in pre-season as well. It's going to be interesting. And again, I'm so looking forward to everybody's predictions once it goes out as a video. There will definitely be some people that will put like West Brom, they're going to get relegated finally. Get them out of the league, no one wants them here. And someone will put like, oh, Leicester to get relegated. Some idiot Arsenal fan will probably put Spurs to finish like 12th because people are just... ridiculous. Next, we go to West Ham. Now, some people think that West Ham have made loads of great signings. I don't. I think Chicha is a solid signing for them. I absolutely love the guy. He's just one of my favourite players. I don't know why, I just love watching him play. He's a beast. Chicha is awesome. The other ones, not so much. Joe Hart, I think, is overrated. Zabaleta, like, you see some West Ham fans on Twitter and stuff like that saying that they've made like 4 or 5 world-class signings. No. Yeah, Zabaleta's not insane. Then you've got Arnautovic, again. It's going to be interesting. Like, if he plays to the best of his ability, then he could do very good for West Ham. But watching him for Stoke, he's so inconsistent. That could be their big signing for me, like bigger than Chicha. Who, again, Hernandez is a beast and I love him, and maybe he'll give them a new sort of form of attack that maybe they weren't really getting with some of their other strikers that they've had. Maybe this will be the year where someone like Ayew actually does a little bit better for West Ham. Maybe Snodgrass will do a little bit better than he did last season. Again, it's difficult to say because some of their new signings last year didn't really settle or do that well. This year, will it be the same case again? Who knows? Who knows? There's so many people that are annoyed in the chat. It's brilliant. This is why I'm going to get your predictions once it's done as a video, okay? Calm down, people. These are my thoughts. Just calm down. Right, next. Where did I go with 10th? I went with Bournemouth 10th. Again, I feel like between 11th and 8th, you could swap any of these teams around as well. And then below that, you could swap any of those. So, Bournemouth, again, still under Eddie Howe. Brought in a couple of players like Nathan Ake. Brought in... Defoe, right? Like, decent signings for them. Ake was good on loan. Defoe was solid for Sunderland, despite them being an awful team. So these could really, really help Bournemouth just solidify their place in being just a decent mid-table team. So, like, I like Bournemouth. They're quite decent. So, I hope that they do okay. They're not a team that I dislike watching, unlike some of the others in this league. So, it's going to be an interesting one for them to see if these couple of new signings are going to make the difference for them and whether they're going to quickly settle into the team or not. So, we'll see. We'll see what goes. Not being biased, look how high I have certain teams. Yeah, again, I'm not biased. I'm just making my predictions. Oh, they also got Begovic as well, which is decent for them. Next, we have got us, 9th. A lot of people will probably call me biased right here for saying, oh, you've put Leicester top 10. We should have got top 10 last season. If it wasn't for an incorrect offside in the last game of the season, I believe we would have been 1 point off of 9th or 8th. I can't remember. And that was when we had Champions League as well. This year, we don't have that. We don't have the European football. Obviously, we've got the Cup like everybody. We've made decent signings in Maguire. That was probably the worst position for us was centre-back. And so we made a decent signing in Maguire there. We've got Iheanacho, which is a big signing to replace Shinji Okazaki because, man, he's not that good. The big question for us, right, obviously is, does Riyad stay? If Riyad doesn't stay, then we could drop off because we don't have another creative player, right? If he stays, I feel like we could comfortably get that kind of position. If he goes, who knows? Demarai Gray is nowhere near as creative as him. Even like Tom Lawrence, like, they're decent players, but they're just not on the level of creativity of Riyadh, who, again, didn't even have the best season last year. But obviously, he's a big, big player for us if he plays to the best of his ability right there. Excuse me. The amount of people kicking off in the chat with some of my comments is ridiculous. The amount of biased fans from other teams is crazy as well. I'm just saying, these are my opinions. This is why I'm giving you the opportunity, once this is uploaded as a video, to give your opinion as well. Calm down. Okay, so I think that we could potentially push for top 10 this year. Again, I think that the signings we've made are good. They've improved us, like Ibora as well in midfield. We've improved in the positions where we needed to the most. So that is where I think we are going to get. Again, the amount of people that think that we'll do worse, that's fine. You can have your opinion when it comes to this video being uploaded. Next, we've got Southampton. Again, they're just that kind of team that sort of sit there. They don't really change that much. They can try and push for like European places, etc., etc. With Pellegrino as manager, they may be potentially losing Van Dijk. It's going to be interesting to see if this is going to massively change how well they do this year or not. But again, I think they're just quite a solid team. If their defence can handle losing Van Dijk, then I think this is the kind of position that they could still finish. Or maybe he won't even leave, and maybe he'll still play for them and he'll still be good. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? The chat is awesome. Next, let's go on to the top 7. Everton, 7th is what I'm going to go for. Whilst they've made a good amount of signings, they've lost their main man in Lukaku. Right? Now, whilst he's not insanely consistent at beating... whilst he's not insanely consistent at being incredible against the top teams, he's still a great player for them, and he was their focal point. So without him, it's going to be interesting to see how well they do this year. Obviously, they've got Wayne Rooney back. Maybe he could absolutely smash it for Everton after going back there. We do not know. You've also got... they're most likely going to get Gylfi. That could be huge for them, and he could be amazing, and he could potentially push them into competing for that top 4, etc., etc. But yet again, it's another team where their position in this table is not really defined by what they've done in the past. It's about their new signings and their loss of players like Lukaku. So Everton is a tough one to call, but that's exactly why I've put them 7th and not higher than that, because I think that is just their position in the table right now. That's where they're going to end up. Okay, 1 second. Let's move up. Liverpool, 6th. Oh, this is where the controversy starts and all of the fans of the big teams start to massively slate me for my predictions. So here you go, Liverpool. I'm going to go with 6th because their squad, like their starting 11, decent. Their squad, not sure about that one. They've got Champions League football this year, right? That's going to affect them. That is going to affect them, and I don't think that their squad is going to be good enough in terms of like their bench and everything. That means that they're going to struggle with rotation and everything like that. They've got Lallana out for the first 2 or 3 months of the season. Now, they have obviously brought in people like Mohamed Salah. If they lose Coutinho, though, then that pretty much wipes that out. So it's going to be an interesting one for them. Will they lose Coutinho? If they do, how big of an impact is that going to have? Will they be able to keep him? Will that potentially push them to top 4 again? Who knows? The chat, the amount of people, the amount of Liverpool fans in the chat getting annoyed at this. This is why you've got your chance to leave your prediction once this goes out as a video. The amount of people is absolutely amazing. I love it. This is why I wanted to do this as a stream rather than just upload it as a video, so I could just laugh at all the people that get annoyed and say that I'm biased against their team, that my predictions are terrible and stuff like that. Oh, it's brilliant. 5th, Arsenal. Gonna be an interesting one. Again, just gonna be interesting. Will they push into top 4 or will they slip out just like they did last season? We'll have to wait and see. Will they keep Sanchez? Another question which we still do not know the answer to. It looks like they will, but you never know. Managers have said in the past, like, oh yeah, this guy is definitely going to stay. And then he ends up getting sold. So, again, Arsenal, I just don't think that they're good enough. Like, especially at the start of the season as well, they've got quite a few people injured. For their first few games is not going to be easy for them. Obviously, we play against them tomorrow to open up the season. They're probably going to beat us like 3-0. I will not be surprised if that happens. For example, if Lacazette can get off to a great start, that would be amazing for them. But is he going to settle in straight away? We do not know. Again, it's about... like, that is their marquee signing this year. They needed a striker. It's what they've been missing out on since they lost Van Persie, right? They've still never really replaced him. Will Lacazette be that guy that can push them up to potentially getting that glory again? We'll have to wait and see. Oh, the chat is amazing right now. Next, Spurs. 4th. Now. This is also probably going to be all of these are controversial, obviously. Every single pick in this is going to be agreed with by some people in the chat. There's going to be a hell of a lot of people that disagree. That's the entire point of these predictions videos, to get your opinion as well afterwards. Again, once it's as a video, leave your 20-team league table. If someone gets it spot on, I may give you a prize at the end of the season, some kind of reward or something like that. So, Spurs finish above Arsenal again. One of their... I would say Spurs have one of, if not the best, starting 11s in the league. Right? Their team is amazing. I honestly think that it's got even better by having Trippier instead of Kyle Walker. Unfortunately, he's now injured for a little bit. The question is with Spurs, can they play well at Wembley? If they can, they're going to do super well. If they can't, get them the hell out of that top 4. Obviously, they didn't play well there when they played their Champions League and European games there last season. Will it be different in the league, though? Again, that is the defining factor for Tottenham for me this year. If they play well there, so far, leave them in that position. If they struggle at Wembley again, they're dropping out of that for me. Absolutely. Obviously, they've got Champions League again, so will they do as bad as last year in Europe? I mean, it depends. Again, the thing is with Spurs, their starting 11 is great. Their bench, not so much. They still don't really have a backup for Harry Kane. They've got Vincent Janssen. When the Champions League and stuff rolls around, are they going to struggle with that again? If Harry Kane gets injured, what the hell do Spurs do? Do they put Heung-min Son up front? Do they use Janssen? I think like they still haven't bought anyone, I believe, as of this point when I'm streaming, unless they've done one today and I've missed that. But I don't know what they're planning to do, to be honest. They've got to sign a couple of players, surely. Like, the backup striker is the thing that they need. A decent backup striker. Who knows? Let's move on, shall we? Next. Next. And I've also just realised that says Hotspur, not Hotspur. Ignore that. That's a spelling error. Just ignore them. Okay? Hide them. Hide them. It says Hotspur. Ignore it. 3rd, Chelsea. Last year, they didn't have Champions League or European football. This year, they do. Simple as that. They've Hazard's injured for a month or two. Diego Costa's not here. They brought in Morata, but he's not going to be starting, it seems, from their pre-season. Batshuayi will do. They've brought in Rudiger, Bakayoko, which is decent. Matic has gone. Yet again, I think that just the fact that their squad isn't the biggest out of all of them, again, is what is going to be difficult. When they get this European football rolling around, it was simple last year. They didn't have that. They didn't have to worry about squad rotation, which is why they hardly made any changes to their starting 11 and their team. This year, they've got to think about rotation more to keep everybody fit and everything. So, I think that's why I'm not going to put them to win the league this year. That is my opinion. Next! Get ready for everybody to kick off in the chat. Second, Manchester United. This is where all the Man U fans just absolutely hate me because they're like, oh, why didn't you put us first? It's a prediction. It's my prediction. Okay. Man U second. I believe I put them in the top 3 last year. And they failed. They did not do well. Now, this year they've got the Champions League again. But they've signed a Premier League proven goal scorer in Romelu Lukaku, who's now playing in a better team than he was. He's got better players behind him, giving him chances. Like, now that they've bought Matic in, that means that Pogba can be played further forward, where he plays better, really. He's got a bit more freedom to get assists, to get goals, etc. With Pogba further forward, in behind Lukaku, I just feel like if they get a decent connection, like, that's going to be ridiculously good. Do I think that they are good enough to win the league? Not quite. And that's still because I just still don't have Man U's defence as quite good enough. Now, I know last season they were very, very hard to beat and they went on a big, big unbeaten spree. Fair enough. That was really, really good for them. But they were getting a hell of a lot of draws. This season, will that change with Pogba and Lukaku? I think yes. I think they're going to get more wins, which is why I put them second. And they're going to do better than last year. But I just still don't think they've got that thing at the back of their team. Like the Rio Ferdinand Vidic. They don't have that. That's why I don't think that they're going to win the league. If they can sort out and get a solid defence maybe in the next year or two, maybe they could do it again. But that is why I don't think they're going to do it. You're going to lose so many subs after this video. Oh, we've already lost quite a few people that have unsubscribed because of my opinion on where their team is going to finish in the league. People, if they honestly care that much, I don't care if they leave the channel. I don't know why you would have. Why would you be that annoyed about that? Right, next. Last one. I mean, you know who's going to come here. Manchester City. Manchester City to win the league. I'm pretty sure I said exactly the same last year. But my God, their defence and goalkeeper let me down massively. They were shocking. Bravo had an absolute mare of a season. Now, he was a scapegoat. I think that people were harsh on him, but he also wasn't great. He was not as good as he was at Barcelona. And now that they've actually got some solid defenders, if they keep people like Company fit this season, I just feel like it's going to happen. Like Aguero, Jesus, Bernardo Silva, Sane, De Bruyne, David Silva, Sterling. Their attack force is scary. Their defence now, you've got good people. Like, I still think Kyle Walker's overrated. But if they're going to play like 3 at the back and have wing-backs, he could be solid. You've got Mendy, who could be a good signing from Monaco. Danilo, decent as well, can play on either side. In the midfield, like, oh man, their team is just solid. So that is why I am going with Man City to win the league. So, again, there's going to be a lot of controversy around this. A lot of people are going to hate on me because of my prediction, but that is the point. And in terms of what you say about my predictions, I think my shirt sums up my opinion about what you will say about mine. No fooks given. So let's run over it very quickly again. Brighton, Swansea and Huddersfield to go down. Stoke, Watford, Newcastle, Burnley, West Brom and Crystal Palace. I feel that could be completely switched around. Any of those could finish in any of those positions. Then I feel West Ham, Bournemouth, us and Southampton. You could switch us around and we could finish in any of those. And then I feel that that is going to be the top 7. Everton, Liverpool and Arsenal to miss out on top 4. Spurs, Chelsea, Man U to make up the rest of it. And then Man City to win the league. In terms of top goal scorer, I mean, it's difficult. Like, again, you could go with Harry Kane to win it 3 seasons in a row. Now, I'm going to say, if every single player stays fit for the entire season, Aguero to finish top goal scorer is going to be my prediction. But, most likely, he's going to get injured at some point, so Harry Kane will end up doing it. Or maybe Lukaku, now that he's in an even better team. Again, if nobody gets injured or suspended or anything, I'm going Aguero. But I am not going to be shocked when I see in like 2 or 3 weeks that, oh, Aguero's injured for 2 months. And shock. It happens yet again. So I'm going to go with that. In terms of Golden Glove, I'm going to go Man U. I still think that they're going to be difficult to beat, and I think that they'll get clean sheets this year, like they did last time. I still don't think that their defence is good enough to win the league, but they're just difficult to beat for the teams that potentially will knock points off of other teams, if that makes sense. It's difficult to explain, but it's pretty much the same as last year, right? And then for top assists, I'm going to go De Bruyne. I just think, again, if he is fit for the entire season, as well as all of their strikers and everything, I just feel like he's going to be amazing. So I'm going to go De Bruyne for most assists, and I think that is about it. So if anyone's got any other things that they want me to potentially predict before we end this, quickly ask them in the chat. If not, then this is going to go out as a video as soon as it is finished, and then I want you guys, once it is out as a video, to leave your comment of your full finish for the table. 1 through 20. And again, if somebody gets it correct, maybe I'll give out some kind of prize or something at the end of the season. So we've done top goal scorer, we've done most clean sheets. Manager of the season, whoever wins the league. Whoever wins the league. So, Pep, most likely. Anything else? Most red cards? I don't know. That I'm not going to be able to predict that one. Player of the year? Who do you think is going to be player of the season? Kevin De Bruyne. Young player of the year? Does Pogba get into that, or is he now too old? If not, then probably Dele Alli again. So there we go. Obviously, my main stream today is still going to be at 5 o'clock in about 45 minutes, which is going to be my FIFA stream, doing my rewards and everything like that. So if you want to tune in, again, 45 minutes is when that is going to start. This is going to go out as a video right now, so if you guys want to go and leave your prediction once it has gone live, that will be awesome to see what everybody goes for. But I'm going to end it here. Thank you very much for all of the hate in the chat and all of the controversy. But I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. That is my prediction. We'll come back at the end of the season and see just how wrong I was on every single one of these and how we probably finish 17th, Stoke end up winning the league, stuff like that. So I'll see you guys later for today's main stream. Hopefully you can tune into that. Leave your feedback in the comments once this goes live. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.